March 14th, 2024. I'm Connor MacIvor. I hope everybody is doing well. I do want to get into some real estate information today, talking about what's happening in the real estate cycle. Now, of course, Santa Clarita Valley is not separated a lot from the happenings in the rest of the cities that are very similar in size, that are very close to a large metropolitan area. And with the dynamics that we have in Santa Clarita, it's just like that perfect distance for people that are working in greater Los Angeles areas and cities to commute to. And we also have the infrastructure built in where we have three different train stops out here. Maybe four if you bring in one a little bit further north, but at least three in very close proximity, plus public transportation and buses and that sort of access. Plus, there's park and rides, there's ride sharing programs and all of that as well. I saw a lot more of that in Antelope Valley, but I still see parking lots being utilized for those systems for people that are dropping off, picking up, and sharing rides. So that's as far as Santa Clarita goes with regard to what's happening out here. As far as the real estate related portion of it, we are still very much heavily in a seller's real estate market. And that basically just means that the sellers are pretty much holding all of the cards when it comes to residential real estate and the pricing out there. And that just happens to be because there's very little inventory, but a very high demand currently. And we will see that transition into property prices becoming even more expensive over the next several years. The National Association or California Association of Realtors guesstimates here in California we're going to see anywhere from a 20 to 25% increase in real estate prices in the next 4 to 5 years. And that would make sense if we continue on our same trend. The only problems that could potentially come up, of course, an entire collapse of the economy, that would be a good one. But besides that, something maybe a little bit less evasive that's going to take time to come about, it's going to be the overbuilding and oversupply. Right now in the commercial real estate world, people are talking about converting commercial properties to residential properties. Why? Well, to try to increase the amount of houses and residences available for people because we definitely have a shortage. But on the other side of it, they're trying to save their bacon. They have commercial properties, in some regards, restaurants aside and those things, but retail space doesn't seem to be doing fantastically in the real estate world. Just look at the news cycle. Moving from that, though, what if you could take all of that commercial space and convert it to residences? Who would have thought? So there's companies out there that are starting to be evolved, working on one as well, starting to be evolved, and it's going to be moving from taking a commercial building and converting it into residential. The problem is it's not a nimble process. What happens though when that does become nimble? Everybody's able to do it, and then we overrun the housing supply with residential units for sale. Then the market morphs from being a seller's market to a buyer's market. That's the danger point that we would potentially have. As far as new housing being the culprit in the overbuilding game, it's going to take a few years to happen. Residential, that can happen with the waving of somebody's political magic wand and make that process become more factual and a lot more easy for people that are looking to make some kind of commercial conversions to residential. Just be wary. It's probably going to be a great money maker for a while, but after a while, it's going to tap itself out. Just don't be on the wrong end of it like so many of us are when it comes to great investment ideas. So that's real estate in a nutshell. We're going to give the local numbers here. Right now, running in Santa Clarita Valley, as far as active units on the sale, we are somewhere in the neighborhood about 320, and that's what we've been seeing for the last couple weeks. We have seen an increase, though, from the high 200s into this cycle, and we are going to continue to see more inventory being added. The reason why we don't get a massive surplus, though, is because there's a lot of sellers out there that they have no intention of selling their real estate. First off, they don't know where to go. They don't have a place that they're going to be able to go. They don't see anything they want to purchase potentially being a place they want to go. So they're holding back. Also, they're sitting at a very low interest rate, 2 and 3%. So that's where they currently are, as are 60 plus percent of the mortgage holders here in the United States of America. It's not a bad place to be. They see that number and they say, well, my gosh, if I'm going to upsize, downsize, or solve some kind of a housing related issue, like I've outgrown it or undergrown or whatever, then I'm going to pause. And I really, it has to be worth my while to pay an extra 3 or 4, or in some cases 5% more than my current mortgage interest rate. What are other ways in order to approach and find a solution to this? One of them would be to potentially find somebody's mortgage that is assumable, that has a low interest rate, somebody that wants to live where you live. You want to live where they live and do a house trade and a mortgage trade and see if that actually works. Now, if somebody has more equity than another one, we would do cost analysis and value propositions on all of the real estate, whatever's involved. If there's going to be only two changing hands, one per the each side, and then each of their own, then that's going to just equate out to us working those individual numbers for those properties and finding out where the equity is, and then coming up with a solution as to how those, well, they get compensated or not, either take it off the price or maybe inject cash into the deal, whatever it may be. But these are options to maybe be explored. It's not really there yet, but people are working on solutions to those things as well. Of course, there's a lot of great ideas out there. We're about the 6 minute mark, so we're going to jump into the fat feasting thing. I am Connor with Honor. I do appreciate you watching the real estate segment. All right, so let's talk about this. So what I did is I started a few days ago on Sunday with some dry fasting. So I moved through the dry fasting into water fasting after about 44 hours or so. I posted those videos up. Here's some slides from when I started. Anyway, so I go through the process. I dropped 13 pounds super fast, probably within the first 32 hours of being on a dry fast. And a dry fast is no liquid. And before you get too excited about this whole process, make sure you talk to your doctor, medical professional, but it being before changing anything dietary, and especially not eating or drinking water, not eating food or drinking water. Yeah, that's a big one to talk to your doctor or medical professional about. Now, let's talk about where I am currently. So I torched off 135 pounds of fat. I've been able, through working out very diligently and eating a little bit more than normal, increase my body weight up to 285 pounds. So I say, you know what, I'm going to get back. I like the 230s. High 230s felt really good for me. But I don't know if I'm going to be there with the muscle mass that I put on from last time, but we'll have to see the closer I get. But knowing that, I started a dry fast on Sunday evening about 9 p.m. That's where I was then. And then the next morning, I woke up 3 or 4 pounds lighter. That evening, about 7, 8 pounds. That next morning, about the 32-hour mark, really low, about 15 pounds down, just in less than 2 days of dry fasting. Yes, folks, it's amazing. It's a miracle. But again, it's very dangerous, so watch out for that. Moving through, then I started drinking water on Tuesday. So that afternoon, I started to become hydrated. Well, I put on almost, let's see, what, Tuesday, 70, 60, put on 5 pounds. 5 pounds just in liquid. Then today, I got through yesterday. I did have a protein shake yesterday, and I had some pecans. It was something very, just kind of a little break fast, but not a lot, not a huge amount. Then this morning, I wake up and get on the scale, and brothers and sisters, I'm at 266 pounds. That's about 20 pounds in what's going to be 4 days from Sunday. So today's Thursday. So that's where I am currently. I'm continuing a water fast, maybe have a protein meal this afternoon. I haven't decided yet. But I am my 50-day plan. I hope you join me if you want to do this. It is something that is very, very good for you, but you're going to have to speak with your doctor, medical professionals, and all those sorts of folks to make sure that they give you good advice and you make the right decisions so you don't end up messing yourself up. So that's where I am currently. So I'm elated with that. Once I break into the 250s, I'll feel really, really happy. And the 240s, of course, I'll feel happy. Usually with a dry fast, if I'm solid dry, I'm going to be losing anywhere from a pound or a little bit more every day. So people say, what is that weight? What does that look like? Well, in some cases, you're going to be losing muscle along with fat, but primarily it's going to be fat because that's what the fat is on your frame for the times that you don't eat or your body considers you to be starving. So that being the case, that's usually what the body goes to and starts to burn. But with a fast, that doesn't happen right away because if you are primarily a person that likes the sugary stuff and the breads and the carbohydrates and yes, fruit and yes, vegetables and those sorts of things, if you're that type of person that eats that, primarily that's going to make you a sugar burner. So when you're eating primarily those foods, well, you have protein in there, of course, right? But you're not just protein. So you're not just ketogenic in the way that you approach food and you eat, which would be eggs and meat, kind of carnivore, eggs, meat, cheese, just stuff that's totally in there. And I don't even know if carnivore eats the cheese or the milk. But anyway, that aside, you having this plan, making a decision, is going to move you to that next step. So here you are, you start with a little bit of a fast after you've decided that this is what you want to do. And once you begin your fast, you're going to end up potentially messing up. You're going to end up doing something that you didn't intend to do, i.e., I wanted to go a full 84, 86 hours on the dry end. I stopped it at 44. So I didn't make it today, but I didn't kill myself or beat myself up. And then I told myself, you know what, I'm going to do a water fast probably till Friday. Well, I broke that yesterday, but again, very sensibly. Protein shake. I had some, no, not almonds, pecans, some cut pecans, and that's it. So that was where I was yesterday. And today I feel really good. I'm going to be working out soon. I'm going to be doing my dry fast soon and be resuming that next week. But today, probably going to have cabbage soup. It's kind of a thing. Maybe do a little bit of a cleanse and a detox. But we'll see where the weight is. Still lifting hard, still on that testosterone therapy, which definitely helps me maintain the muscle mass and continue to build muscle, which, folks, if you haven't done any research in the amount of muscle you're carrying, you might want to go check with your doctor and see how that looks. The more muscle you have as you get into your older years, I'm mid 50s now, the more muscle you have, the healthier and the more resilient you're going to be to breaking down things like breaking a hip or falling off the couch or losing your balance or tripping. You can improve and increase your muscle mass very simply from the comfort of your own home. Anyway, research that, enjoy it, do some resistance training, folks. I'm Connor with Honor. Thanks for watching. We're going to close this out, and you have a fantastic day. We'll talk to you all tomorrow. Be well.